Today's lesson will be focusing on how to post from general journal entries into ledger accounts. This example that I'm using is found on page 49, and in a previous tutorial I showed you how to do these general journal entries, and now I'm going to post those entries into the ledger. The first transaction is this one, when the owner J. Green invested $200,000 into the business and put it into the bank account. This is on top of page 49, and I'll step by step take you through. So let's look at the first one. In first instance, cash at bank. So I need to go to my cash at bank account. There it is there. It asks me to put in a debit for $200,000. So let's just put in this information here. I've got January the 1st. That's when it happened. Now the particulars, this cash at bank transaction refers to the capital. So that may be a bit confusing to start with, but as I go through this you'll get the idea. Right? And the amount is for $200,000. There you are. So what that says, on the 1st of the 1st, $200,000 was put into the bank. What was the other entry, or the opposing entry for it, or the particulars if you like? It came supplied by the capital. Alright. So now we've ticked off this one. Now let's look at the next account, which is the capital account. It asks us to credit this amount, $200,000, to the capital account. So we go to the capital account, the date, so 1st of the 1st, the particulars in this instance relates to cash at bank. That's the cross-reference if you like. Cash at bank, the amount is $200,000. So let's summarise this ledger entry. On the 1st, an increase was made to the capital account when the owner introduced $200,000 and they put it into the bank. The same up there. So we've got the first entry done. Let's keep moving and you'll get the idea how this all works. The next entry was made on January the 3rd. We bought a motor vehicle. Okay, so we go to the motor vehicle account. It's the 3rd of January. In this instance, the particulars are two particulars, namely cash at bank and ABC Co. That's the particulars. The amount's for $35,000, as you can see up there. Okay, so we can tick this one. This one's now ticked. Motor vehicle debit $35,000. The cash at bank account had a credit to it for $5,000. Let's put that in. So go to the cash at bank account on the 3rd of January. We spent some money on the motor vehicle, so that's the cross-reference in this instance, and that amount was for $5,000. So I've done that one now. And the other part of that transaction in the general journal is the credit to the ABC Co. Let's put that in. So there's ABC Co. We've got to put it on the credit side. It was on the 3rd. Right. And it related to the motor vehicle. And it was for $30,000. So there's the posting of our next entry. So now we look at wages. We paid some wages, $1,000. It says wages debits, an expense account, remember. So on the 15th, we paid cash for it. And that was for $1,000. So what I've now done is put in this entry here, right? And it says we got to credit the cash at bank account for $1,000. So again, we go to our cash at bank account up here. It's on the 15th. And it's for wages for $1,000. So there's that one sorted. So the credit to cash at bank account was put up there like that. I'm just going to keep moving with the last two entries here. M. Johnson remember that was a debtor. We've got to debit that person for $2,000 because they promised to pay us hopefully in 30 days. There's my M. Johnson account. Let's start again. The date is January the 21st. It was for services performed. The amount, as you can see, is $2,000. Right? So we've done that entry there. And the next one, we've got to credit service performed for $2,000. So I go to the credit side. It was the 21st of January. What did it relate to? Well, M. Johnson, because that person still owes us some money, and that's for $2,000. Whoops, there you are. So I have put those two items into the ledger account. Now this last entry here, on January the 27th, we paid ABC Co. Right? And we actually reduced the liability, and that's why it's on the debit side. Let's just do that. ABC Co. on the 27th of January, we paid some cash, and it was for $2,000. There we are. So we've just done that one. And lastly, we've got to take another $2,000 out of the cash account by crediting that account. So let's go up here, 27th of January. We paid ABC Co. $2,000. There we are. So what I've done is posted those general journal entries to the individual ledger account. So now we're in a position to be able to balance them and to find out what the final balances are. The next most logical step here is to work out what our balances are for each ledger account. I'm going to continue with the illustrative example. This time it's moved on to page 51, and it looks at the cash at bank account, which you can see represented there, the raw entries. The first thing I'm going to do is going to see which side's got the bigger amount. In this instance, you can see that it's obvious that it's going to be 200,000, and what I'm going to do is put 200,000 underneath each column. Right? That's the first thing we do. So I'm going to put the auto sum there. So it's $200,000. I want to underline that nicely so make it stand out. There we are. That's what I normally use for that one. Repeat that process there. Right. Now we're also going to put $200,000 over here and make that side equal to $200,000, and the difference will be the balance, as you'll see at the moment. So simply what I will do is just make that equal to one another. It's equal. It's easy. All right. So the difference in here will be the balance. So we do this usually at the end of the month. So I'm going to type in January the 31st, and I'm going to type balance carried down. That's what the CD stands for, carried down. Right. So you must take these items, which adds up to $8,000 away from this total balance here of 200,000. And if you do your maths, you will see that it's 192,000, which ends up being the balance of that account. And it looks a bit confusing at this stage, but what I've just done is a mechanism of actually how to go about finding the balance. The next step I'll take you to is to show you how it's finally going to be presented as a running total ready for the next month. Now, as you'll see, while I paused, I made the cash at bank account a bit bigger so to hold more information, because there's a crucial bit of information that I haven't yet put on there, and that is the opening balance for the next accounting period, which is going to be the next day after the 31st of January, which is the 1st of February. In this instance, I'm going to type balance brought down. That's what the BD stands for, brought down, and that is simply the amount that we worked out up here. I'm just going to type equals to that, and there it is. All right. So we go through that process for every account that we've got here. Right? I'm going to show you how to do the capital count. In this instance, there's only one item. You can see that it's obviously going to be $200,000 in my capital count, but just going through the process again on this side now, and I'm just going to purely provide the balance mechanism as I showed you in the previous account. Right. First thing I'm going to do is to work out, well, I know what it is my total, which is $200,000, as I did before. I'm going to underline that nicely so it stands out. There we are. Both sides should be equal to one another. There you are. So both sides are equal. Now the balancing mechanism, this happens on the 31st of January at the end of every month. I'm going to type balance, carry down. This instance obviously going to be $200,000, and because it's a item with a running total, I'm going to open that up for the next month as I did before. Balance brought down. That's equal to this item. There we are. So you can see how that's worked, but the balance is obviously a credit balance. In this instance, there was a balance on the debit side. I'm going to show you one more time. I'm going to use the ABC co-account to show how that works. So you can see that the biggest total here is $30,000. I'm going to put that in there. $30,000. Make it nice and pretty again. I'm going to make both sides equal to that. So that's the first step. The balancing mechanism has to appear on this side. There we are. Whoops. Balance. Carry it down. And that's the difference between that figure and that figure, and you can work that out just in your head. That's $28,000. So that's the way that we use the mechanism. Now to represent the balance on the next month, balance brought down, which is equal to what you worked out to up there. Okay. So this is the process I've showed you 3 or 4 times now, and all you're trying to do is to find what the final balance is of each account. And when we've done that, we can then go to the next step of doing the trial balance, which will be a future tutorial that I'll show you later.